Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Marketing Uncensored. I'm Colin Slattery,
I'm Sam Tomlinson.
and this week we're talking about how reporting is mostly a bullshit waste of time.
Pretty much inspired by Colin's engaging tweet.
I love when people engage, and usually it's not the tweets that we think about, it's the ones that I rip off the dome. So,
That's
the law of social media.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so we're going to get into reporting, why most reporting's dumb, how to make it better. I think if you're a brand, be helpful to get better reporting. And if you're an agency, to stop wasting time on shitty, dumb reporting. So hopefully there's a little bit of something for everyone here in this episode.
It's probably the best place to begin this episode is the tweet that started it all. So Colin decided to rip one and puts out into the universe. Honestly, I feel reporting is so stupid. Most people never even look at it, and it's just kind of a waste of time. But it's still expected that it's done. And this spawned what can only be described as a deluge of comments and one of your better performing posts of like a while.
Yeah, got a lot more engagement than most stuff since my Google theft post a few months ago.
Yeah, this was one of your better ones of 2025.
And pretty polarizing, although I would say the pro reporting group, I think, was a small minority, but quite vocal.
Yeah, they were kind of like SEOs.
And some brand owners, some psychos who are like, when I say jump, everyone has to ask how high. And it's like, okay.
Yep.
Um, but we get those too. Like those are clients sometimes. But I think the idea behind it, and certainly most of the service providers generally were agreeing with the statement that most reporting is a waste of time. It's not looked at. It's not engaged with. I mean, especially if you're able to track it. How many times are people actually watching your Loom videos or opening your reports, right? It's generally not very frequently, but we still do it. There's still the expectation that it gets done. And, what the fuck are we all doing here?
Yeah, I think it really comes from like I hate reporting. I'll be the first one to tell you I absolutely fucking hate reporting. I think 99 times it's a waste of time, and the way it's done in 99% of cases is stupid. So that's my very dismissive take. What I think almost every critique I have of reporting boils down not to the idea of sharing information, which I think is a great idea. I think it comes down to the method in which it is shared and what is being shared. And that's where everything goes haywire.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of my broader point, is that all reporting isn't a waste, but the vast majority of reporting and the way that most reporting is done as a baseline is a complete waste. There is good
Yeah.
reporting, there is effective reporting, but the vast majority of how it's reported and what's reported is a waste that no one looks at.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's 100%. So I think when we look at reporting, I'm not sure how you guys approach it. My interest in reporting, I think what has happened is honestly very dull. I don't think it's interesting. I think it's interesting only insofar as you can get some really good insights into what might work in the future or some pitfalls to avoid in the future. Like it is instrumentally valuable in helping your future performance. That's it.
Yes. Um and I will say, when I'm talking about reporting, I'm speaking about client facing reporting. Internal reporting is incredibly effective and incredibly helpful, and we use it all the time. And I think that also is something that dovetails into how to make reporting for clients more effective as well, is by looking at how you're actually using it internally.
For sure. That's right.
So, you know, I think the biggest, and talking about how reporting is generally a waste of time, right? But I think the biggest reason that it is a waste of time is most clients don't look at it and don't care. And
Yep.
so you either need to find a way to make them care or get them to agree to let you stop doing it. Because otherwise you're literally just like screaming into the void, which I know is that's what it generally as a rule feels like for, service providers.
Yeah, pretty much. The way we've approached it, especially in recent years, is number one, we have moved away from a lot of standardized monthly reports into dashboards with summaries.
Okay. So
So,
that's
you know,
pretty interesting because we don't use dashboards at all. We've completely gone away from dashboards.
yeah, we start. I think we started a few episodes ago. We talked about like client intake processes, right? So one of ours is we create budget models, we create strategies, we forecast everything out. Great. We take the numbers from the budget model that goes into the dashboard. So what you actually see are a few, like 3 or 4 key metrics that are the things that you give a shit about. And in that, you see the performance for the time period selected along with the forecasted total pulled from the forecast. So you can actually see, like, okay, great. Like the forecasted number of sales was 2,400 to 2,850. Great. We were at 3,200. Fantastic. And you can see that, okay, great, you're overperforming based on the forecast. Same thing for CAC, same thing for AOV or LTV or whatever you're modeling. The idea being basically, number one, I'm not pulling your report at the end of the month because why? You're not going to read it, to your point. You don't care. But we're like, okay, great. Here's what actually you care about. So if you need to report it, you can. And then what we focus on instead is like, okay, what are the drivers of that performance and how are we taking the information from here and using it to improve going forward? Which I think is the more interesting conversation versus here's like basically being a glorified reporting monkey.
Right. Um, yeah, so we had previously built dashboards for every client and have stopped doing that this year. A, because most clients have their own reporting tools already that we just kind of tap into, Triple Whale, North Beam, things like that. And, we'd spend this time building these dashboards that no one would ever open or look at. So our reporting has actually gotten much more simplified this year, where every Monday we send a Slack message where it's broken into 4 sections. So the top is like a KPI update where it looks at like their top 3. So it's like, uh, your CAC was this for the last 7 days. This is how it is relative to target. And then comps it like year over year, period over period. We'll take a look at like spend. So we'll look at like 3 different metrics: CAC, number of transactions, like total spend. Sometimes like net new percentage, especially for bigger
Right.
brands who look at that. And in terms of like, people are coming in. We have the what got done, right? So quick update on the major initiatives that launched in the last week. What's coming next, right? What are the things that we're planning to launch
Mhm.
between now and the future reporting period? And then observations, where was a bunch of bullet points on, tests that finished and what we saw from them, a little bit of context on the performance, um, just general sort of like observations on what's happening, what we're doing, and things like that. And the goal really is to have it take like less than 30 seconds for someone to read and give them all the context that they need. Uh, because again, no one's going to go through your 19-page deck. Like, no one's going to watch your 20-minute video. If you can get 30 seconds for them to read a Slack message, like, that's
Great
excellent
news.
and probably about all the attention you're going to get for your reporting. And so like that's our baseline cadence for reporting, and that's pretty much all we report.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Slightly different, but I think generally speaking, same spirit. We have fewer clients that have internal reporting probably than you do for whatever reason. So, I mean, where possible, sure, we'll pipe data into your whatever into your Tableau instance, sure.
Right.
But
Um, we do also
most,
have clients where it is like we loop fully into their reporting, and it's not just like reporting on like
yeah, who
the
doesn't
keep it short, keep
love,
it sweet, right?
yeah, it's, I tend to agree that client mental bandwidth is a precious commodity, and every minute that you have a client spending on a report is a minute they're not spending on the other random things that you need from them.
Yeah, like that landing page we asked for 3
Right.
weeks ago.
Like unblocking a landing page, or, finally finalizing that offer for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or telling us which creative, we can use, or whatever else that we need done. Like, time is zero sum.
Clients are
So
busy. They don't
make
want
it
to look at
easy.
your reporting.
I mean, the reason we use dashboards, to be honest, is number one, most clients actually do look at them, which is kind of cool. Number two, but that's probably because they don't have other solutions, right? They're probably so whatever. But number two is because it has eliminated so many of the annoying reporting requests that no one ever wants to deal with. Because when we started about a year and a half ago, the biggest time suck we had on accounts was ad hoc reporting requests. Was like the biggest driver of unplanned client time. It's like, you just pull this data for me real quick, like twice a month times 50 clients. Well,
It
it's like
first of all,
literally a
it's not real
full-time
quick, and
job.
second of all, fuck you.
Sure. But, eventually, like, especially if they're larger clients, like you got to do it.
Of
And
course.
sometimes clients don't even realize how much is in it. Or sometimes when you actually do pull the numbers, you realize like, oh crap, like this doesn't tell the story that the client needs, or this is not actually the data the client wants. What they were really looking for is that. So now I got to go re-pull it all over again to make sure. And, or my personal favorite was like the emails, and we would get, there was at least a dozen of them in there was like a dozen of them in the 12 months. It was like once a month. A client would specify a time period only to respond after the data was sent. Actually, I meant 6 months, or actually, I meant a different time period, in which case you are doing it all over again.
Yep.
So,
Um,
complete waste of time.
yeah. Well, and this is something that we have done with onboarding of clients just as a general rule is asking like in the onboard process, how do you want reporting? What do you want us to report on? Like, how can we make our reporting useful so that we aren't wasting time? And that's not a guarantee that you won't be wasting time and they won't look at them or that they will look at them, right? Like, there's still a decent probability that they won't or they won't frequently, but you're more likely to get something that will be used if you're asking them in the first place.
All right. So, now that we're done bashing the shit out of reporting, I think probably the more helpful conversation is, where is reporting, like what are the valuable use cases, and how do you get more value out of the reporting that you have to do? Number one. And then number two, how do you, if you are the kind of agency or, internal, external stakeholder, and you are being expected to do all this reporting, what is the conversation to get away from it? Because obviously no one likes to have their thing taken away, even if they don't ever use it.
So I think the first thing with, I think, effective reporting, and this was also something I said in a follow up tweet, is that the reporting that we find to be the most helpful and most effective is, kind of like an after action review essentially, and not periodic reporting. So we run a holdout test on YouTube. The test is over. What do the results of this specific test say? What kind of actions can we take as a result of the test that we ran? It is very specific around something that was done and insights based on that. And it's not like, oh, we're doing this every week or we're doing this every 2 weeks or whatever. It's here's this one thing. Here's our report on what happened. Here's how we're going to, take the result of this and inform future decisions. Like, I think those reports are the ones that I think are the most helpful that we produce, and also the ones that I think result in the most concrete action going forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. Those are, well, they're focused. They provide valuable insight. They answer a specific question, and they don't. I think whenever reporting is regular, it almost fades into the background and no one pays attention to it. It just becomes noise.
Yeah, it's like it's the Monday update. Maybe you look at it, maybe you don't, and they're still doing it, and you're maybe looking at it, and yeah, it's baseline.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not helpful.
I think one of the other things to make reporting effective, and this is on the clients, is you need to be very specific about what you need, what you want, and then engage with the reporting that is produced to continue to iterate on it for your own uses. Because I like I can assure you of one thing. The agency does not like producing reports. They would be very happy to make any of the changes that you want them to do in order to make it useful for you, because we generally view it as a complete waste of time. So your engagement with and feedback on it is incredibly helpful. So we don't feel like we're just wasting an hour a week on something that you don't even look at.
Yeah, the corollary to that, and one of the conversations we've had to have, and I've had to have this several times, is so many times clients will ask for everything they could possibly want. They ask for every edge case data point to be included in their monthly or biweekly or weekly or quarterly report. And I'm like, dude, there's basically a Pareto principle everywhere if you look, but that 20% will take 80% of the time and you will not use it because instead of it being a relatively straightforward report that includes the core items that you need, you're now asking for random edge cases, breakdowns by whatever, segments, creatives to be manually pulled and manually linked. I'm like, yeah, sure, it takes 2 minutes to link a specific creative link, but now you want 20 of them. Well, okay, that's 40 minutes of time, assuming they did it super fast and efficient and didn't have to resize anything and didn't have to re-screenshot it or whatever else they had to do. All because of an edge case that is probably not going to be relevant in this particular report or any particular report, with the exception of maybe one a year when somebody asks.
Right. From a regular reporting standpoint, you should be looking for 3 to 5 KPIs max. And that is not for getting in the weeds, right? Like,
No, it is
there is
for
no need to dig into every ad and the
general
performance of
awareness.
ads every 2 weeks. Like, that's fucking crazy
No,
talk. Is your contribution, are we hitting
100%. So I think,
contribution margin targets? Are we hitting volume targets? Like, are we spending what we need to be spending? Is our net new visitor percentage
yeah,
where we need it
that's
to
it.
be? We're done here. Like, don't
Yeah.
need
I
more.
mean, I think like I've had clients where their reporting was literally pages, like pages of just numbers. I'm like, what? No, 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 no. This is not a game we're going to play. I think, and the irony is you're right that the best performing clients, not the best clients from my perspective, but the best performing clients are almost always the ones who are like, I mean, a great example is an investor we just did work with. He literally said, like, send me 3 bullet points. How much did we spend? What did I get? Where, like, what's the issue? What are the blockers, if any?
You know, it's like the idiot and then the IQ bell curve meme where it's like
Yep.
just drop some numbers in a spreadsheet and it's like, no, you need like all Tableau and Looker and like all this blah blah. And then it's like just drop numbers in a spreadsheet. Like, legitimately, like our largest clients, and I'm talking like billion-dollar
Millions.
businesses, we just will like drop a bunch of numbers into like a Google sheet that they use internally for the reporting, where it's, it's spend, it's number of
Mhm.
conversions, CAC is
Yep.
automatically calculated, And that's literally it. And then we just have a little section where it's like, what do we do? What worked? What didn't work? And that's it. They run their
It's
entire
not
fucking
hard.
business on that Google sheet.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's the same thing in every business. What's old is new
Focus
again.
on what matters. Like literally, that's it. Like
Yeah,
don't like your CTR. Fuck your CTR. Who cares? Like
doesn't fucking matter.
no.
I mean, it's
Occasionally, right? Like in like a quarterly business review where it's a 2.5
sure. Let's
hour. Like what were our winning ads for the quarter? Like okay, fine. Like but for
we can talk
periodic
about it for a
reporting,
second, but
useless.
get out of here. Yeah, I think that is 100% the right way to go about it, and it's a conversation I think more agencies need to be open to having with clients at the outset, which is to your point number 1, client, tell me what you actually need. If we have to do a regular reporting, what is the minimum viable report?
Yes,
What is the bare minimum we need? Because that's what we're going to do. Not because we're lazy, but because every minute that I spend on reporting for you is a minute I'm not spending making your ad account better. So
exactly.
everything is a trade-off. And I think clients think there's like unlimited resources at an agency where they can just be like, oh, well, I'm getting a report and I'm getting ads and I'm getting strategy work and they're going to do landers and they're going to make more ads. No, there's one team doing your work and that team has a certain number of hours in a day. And those hours are being divvied up based on what you say is important. And if you say the reporting is more important than the new ad concepts, well, guess what's getting done first? The reporting. Guess what's
Exactly.
not going to move the business forward in the next month? The reporting.
That is such a critical point that I don't think people think about, which is we sell time, right?
Yeah.
An agency
We
sells
rent
time,
people's brains out. That's what we do. That is the service business.
and there is a maximum amount of time that can be allocated to your business in a given period of time
Yes.
based on bandwidth for the team and the economics of having you on as a client. And if you want to do 10 hours of reporting a week, nothing's going to get done. And I I think this is a big problem, especially with legacy brands, which is where we see the dog and pony show bullshit all the time. But like you're just taking away from work that could be actually done. And it's like, do you
Right.
want to spend 3 hours talking about it? Or do you want us to just do work and produce results instead? Like
Yeah. I mean,
pick
and
one.
if we're going to be really honest, I mean, this is a legacy agent, a legacy agency and a legacy brand problem, I think, because I have seen the same thing, to be really honest, from like basically every holdco big agency brand, run down the list, Publicis, McCann, Media Monks slash whatever, S4 Capital, their slate of people, all of them, right? They all do it where it's like, oh, there's like this 30 slide fancy as shit deck that you're sending to clients every month. And I'm like, that was 30 hours of time.
Every time I see
The
a
account's a
fancy
goddamn
report,
disaster.
that's it like the fancier the report, the worse the job the company is
Yeah,
doing on the actual work of the business.
correct. Because they spent all the time on the fanciest shit deck and none of the time, like you said, making the business better. So I think as a client, you just need to have a come to Jesus with yourself and say, like, what do I care about more? Do I care about revisiting history in a pretty way, or do I care about building a better future? And if you care about building a better future for the brand, then take what is valuable from the past, leave the rest, focus your reporting on exactly what you need to cover your ass, and move the hell along.
And I can promise you, if you're working with like modern agencies, not a giant like legacy dinosaur, they're going to be so happy because everyone who chimed in on that post from like agency world basically is like, oh, we really hate doing reporting. We would much rather be doing actual work than reporting. And so if your expectations around reporting are much smaller and you're clear about that and you're like, hey, I need 3 bullet points and like what is happening next. It takes you guys 15 minutes. Agency's gonna love it.
Amazing.
They'll be thrilled.
It's the best news. There is nothing better.
Yeah. Like, cancel standing calls if there's nothing to talk about, right? Be like, it's fine to have a standing call, but it's like it's coming up to the call,
But
you're like day before, and you're like, hey, feel like we got everything we need. Don't think we need this call. Cancel it.
then kill it. Be done. Give people time back. Because ultimately, the way I look at every single thing is like, what is the return on X? Which probably an unhealthy way to look at the world writ large, but it works really well for optimizing businesses. And if the return on call time, that 30 minutes or whatever you have for the weekly call, is zero, and you can reallocate that finite resource to something where the return is greater than zero, then reallocate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and
It's
I
not
think
a hard decision.
no, and like, I think about how because we work with service providers too.
Mhm.
I basically like do not talk to them. And like I don't have calls generally, and I don't like no reports, like no fancy reports. Like, do not send me a fucking deck. Like I don't want to see
No,
it. Like literally, what are the numbers? Like give me a handful of numbers, and then if I have questions, I'll ask. But if there's context you think I should know, like feel free to share it. But I don't want to get
but
on,
otherwise, I don't need
a
to talk to you.
45-minute call where you can like scroll through your deck and I'm not even paying attention anyway. I'm doing other shit. Like let's skip that. You just do more
100%.
work on my account.
Which I think is like, I don't think I've ever had the insane part of this. Let me rephrase this. The truly insane part is agencies are one of the very few service businesses where reporting is expected. Like, let me just like go through the ones that I hire. I have 2 law firms on retainer. I have never gotten a report from my law firm. You know what they do? Legal shit. You know what their report is? The bill.
Right.
Okay,
It's like it's the line item on the invoice. It's like we worked on your
fine.
contract. It
I
was
got 2
two and a half
accounting firms.
hours. Yeah. Never gotten a report from my
Fantastic. You know what you
accountant.
did? The contract. Never gotten a report from them. You know what I do get? They do my taxes at the end of the year. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Um, any of my like building service providers, I have never gotten a report from my property manager, any of them, my contractors, any of them. You know what they do? They send me an invoice and they're like, great, your HVAC, it's fixed now. You're welcome.
Here's an
You
invoice
did your
for 10
job.
grand.
Thanks. Yeah, basically, but fine. Like, I'm not getting reports. You know, you can go down and down the list, right? Like your trainer. Like, if you have a trainer, I had one for a minute, then I got angry at him because he was stupid. But I didn't get a report,
Yeah.
right? We just did the working out, right? We did the thing. We spent the time that he would have spent on the report on the actual doing of things. So the part that's insane to me is that really, when you look at it, like even like let me go to like a very close competitor to an agency or a very close comp is recruiters, right? Which who are fundamentally agencies, right? All they're doing is marketing for talent versus marketing for, customers. I have never gotten a report from a recruiter.
You get hires. They're not like, oh, we had, you know, 10,000 outreaches. We brought in 30 prospects and you hired one of them.
No, we get at best we'll get, hey, uh, can you send us some notes on why John and Jim didn't work out? Which feels like I'm reporting to them. Like, but sure. So the idea that reporting for service businesses is like this requirement, I think, is fundamentally detached from reality. What's necessary is a feedback loop that allows the service provider to do their job better and for the client to understand where the money's going. That's really it.
Yeah, I think there's a urge for reporting to show that stuff is being done, which is kind of stupid because like
Because it's
either stuff is done
contrary to
and
shit
results
getting
are
done.
happening or they're not. Like a pretty deck is just a demonstration of hey, we can do some busy work.
I mean, I feel like a pretty deck is a demonstration of, hey, we prioritize looking good versus you actually being good. It's just It's just poor time allocation.
Yeah. I think there's one exception to that, and that is in the like pre-sales process,
For
and
sure.
looking less for pretty and more for thorough analysis. But once you're
Right. It's
working together,
substance.
do not don't if you're paying for reporting, like pretty reporting, like you're paying for that instead of work.
Right. I mean, fundamentally, it's just, it comes down to, it's, I feel like I say this so often and people are like, this is stupid, but I'm like, everything is a capital allocation question. In the case of a professional service, the capital that you're allocating is the money that is, it's your retainer, right? So it's the fee you're paying the service provider. What do
Which
you want them
goes
to
to their
use it on?
labor costs.
Correct.
Like,
So how do you want your capital allocated? Do you want your capital allocated toward work that improves your business going forward and that gets things done? Or do you want capital allocated towards a pretty deck that makes you look fun, makes you look good, whether or not the underlying results are actually there? It's a really simple question. And then as far as
and
like
I
the
think people need to
the sales
think
process
about it
goes,
in those terms, right? When they don't.
yeah, like this report cost $7,000. Was it fucking worth it? No? Great. Don't ever do it again.
This is like reporting calls too, right? Where you have 10 fucking people on the call, and you can just what is
No.
the cost of this call? This was a $3,000 call. Like, what is the
Was
point
it
of
worth it?
this?
No. It was
Yeah,
probably not worth
those have
it.
also been
Like,
our worst clients, the ones
have a
where
call.
12 people on their side on the call. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be a good engagement.
No, this is not going to be healthy for anybody. And like, sure, again, at the beginning of a relationship, is there value in a client bringing whatever 12 people to a call so that, you meet everybody that you may need to interface with at some point? Yes, there is actually value in that. That is
The
probably a
intro
positive
call.
return on time. Correct. But then once you're working together, no, 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 no. Like if I need to go talk to Gary in customer success, I'll just go fucking email Gary in customer success and be like, yo, dude, why are we churning out so many more subscribers this month versus last month? Like, what's the deal? What is the breakdown of churn reasons in your tickets? And I will get that information from Gary. I don't need Gary on the monthly reporting call.
This is a great benefit to Slack. You can have people in the channel, and you can tag them, and they can read and engage with what they need to, or otherwise, no.
Yeah, I still hate Slack,
Yeah, I mean, fair. Um,
but that is a valid use case.
yeah, like we have everyone who was potentially working on a project in Slack. So if you need to talk to the design lead who's working on ads, like she's in there, you can tag her, right? If
Great.
you need to talk paid social, tag the paid social person. You don't have to hop on a call and
Just tag
have
Phil.
6 people who aren't doing anything and aren't paying attention anyway participate. And I
Right.
think if there's one thing to take away from this, and this is both agency and client, is that reducing the amount of waste on reporting is the most important thing, from reducing the number of people on calls to reducing the amount of information and time it takes to produce the reports. Like, the less the better, right? Less is absolutely more when it comes to reporting and
100%.
comms. And if you don't if you're concerned about, as a brand, right, if you're concerned about not getting a lot of reporting from the client, ask yourself why you're actually concerned, and whether it's just a problem where you don't trust the agency or provider to do the
Right.
work, in which case that is an entirely different problem, and you probably should not be working together in the first place.
Correct. That's 100% the right perspective to have, is understand the role of reporting and what it's actually doing for you, and then identify what is the minimum viable report that you need, and then just do that.
Yeah. And
It's really that simple. Like,
you can change it, right? If you want, hey, we want to add
Of
this additional
course.
KPI, or hey, we're switching this KPI for another one. Like, totally fine. Like, definitely do that. But, you know, reams of fucking pages that someone's just gonna like, you don't, why would you want people to do that? Like, if it's not serving a purpose, you're just being a dick. Like,
I mean, the other thing, like, and I haven't had to do this in a minute, but the problem with like, hey, just like add one KPI is like we had clients that would like constantly like, hey, can we just add these two? Can we add these two? Can we throw these three in? And then you end up with like reporting bloat, right? So the answer is usually, our reports go up to this many metrics or this many KPIs because beyond that, they're not fucking useful. So if, it's 5 KPIs is what we agreed to, great. Then if you want to add a KPI, then go take one of those 5 and take it off. Like if this is that important, then replace one. But what we're not going to do is continue to allow this to expand indefinitely because then you end up with reporting bloat and then we get into the same problem. And I think from the agency perspective, especially if you do have a client that's concerned about reporting, I think the answer is really simple. It's what we just talked about in this call. It's look, we have a certain amount of time that is going to your account. That is the economics of a service business. We would like to spend more of that time helping your business get to the goals that we have set and agreed to. In order for that to happen, we need to spend less time on the report. So here is how we recommend moving forward so that you get what you need to cover your ass and so that you can feel confident without this turning into a many, many hour tedious, very stupid task. Cool?
and that's just being honest, right? Which I tend to be like, honesty, absolutely the best policy, be radically transparent,
Yeah, all
no
of that.
bullshit. Like, you are running a business, right? And that is the very reality of what happens when there's a high comms burden, right? And reporting is generally the largest component of comms. So, like, I would rather sit in your account and do more work than sit on a report and be like, they get to choose, right? If
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well, we can keep doing this like pretty reporting and it takes all this time, or we can do this work in the account, and they can pick like, oh, actually, we do want the reporting, and in that case, they're probably a dumb client, but at least, you're giving them the choice and you're being very transparent about what the trade-offs of the reporting is.
Yeah. And I think most agencies, I've done a lot of I've talked to a lot of agency owners, you have too. And I think the reason I have like gone to war against this kind of stuff is because it is such a time sunk and it scales as the agency scales, right? There's a lot of time sucks that do not scale linearly with agencies. Reporting scales and it scales in a really problematic way. It's the same way that I hate meetings because they scale in a really non-productive way. Like when you're a 3-person agency and you have a 2-person meeting, that's a problem. When you're a 50-person agency and 9 people are in the meeting, the amount of dead meeting hours has now multiplied by 4.5.
And I calculate meeting cost, right?
Yeah,
And it's an absolute waste. Like, you can have account managers where they spend a full day a week doing reporting if you're not careful.
yeah,
And that is, and like,
wildly
sometimes it's
problematic.
more than that because they have like support that has to help with it, and you have 2 people on an account spending 20% of their weekly time working on reporting, and you're like, holy shit, I'm
Dude,
spending
that's not it.
I'm spending $50,000 a year on a pod for reporting,
Yeah.
and that could be going to a client instead. And it's like, it's fucking lunacy. It's absolute lunacy.
I mean, the real thing that just drives me insane though is like as an agency, when we pitch new business, we are really clear and transparent about our reporting process. And we have gotten comments on it before and I've gotten questions. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, I got one and they were like, your reporting is much different than other agencies that we're talking to. And I'm like, that's probably true. And they were like, well, what do you think about that? I was like, well, I think I'm right and they're wrong. But if you want the real answer, it's I believe that we should be investing the maximum amount of time in getting you the results that you want. and the absolute minimum amount of time in reporting stuff that does not materially impact getting you the results. That is it. That is my fundamental belief. Any hour spent on a pretty slide deck to make you feel good is an hour not being spent on your ad account to make your business actually good. So when you ask me how I want to prioritize your assets, how I want to invest your time, I want to invest your time in the future in building and in getting to your goals, not in making pretty slide decks that make everybody feel good but don't actually do anything useful.
That is exactly the correct approach. That's more eloquently said than I could have said it. That is exactly how it should be and how we try to operate internally as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's just a question of what is actually important to you. And if it's your ego is important to you, then cool, dude. Like we can do that. But like Colin said, why? It's a really fucking dumb reason to do reporting.
Reporting is a means to an end, and that end is making sure that stakeholders are appropriately informed and everything's on the right track. And anything else is just wasted time.
Right. But the other issue that I have with reporting, and this is a different issue than what we've talked about, is that I found when you have reporting that is on a regular cadence, like monthly or biweekly, or even weekly, there is a tendency to batch things in a problematic way. Like,
Like, you're
hey,
not going to
I am
report on that new test because you're going to wait until the fucking periodic reporting, and then you've waited, 15 days instead of just
correct.
sharing it.
Or, hey, we're blocked on this thing. Great. I'll throw it into the Thursday report. Well, it's fucking Monday. Unblock it now. Like, why are you waiting 4 days? That's stupid. Like,
And
there is a
that is a
tendency to be
problem with
like,
the
okay, great.
periodic
Well,
reporting.
right. Because you just end up taking these tasks that instead of encouraging immediate resolution, you start encouraging accumulation,
Because you
which is
need
a
stuff
big
for the
problem.
report, right? Like, you don't want an empty report.
Correct.
So
100%.
we're going to save something to put it in the report. Because otherwise, we have to find other bullshit to put in there. And we have this. So, like,
Yeah.
we'll sit on
It's
it.
the Bob Woodward theory of reporting. Like, hey, there's this really valuable thing that I should probably report to the public right fucking now. Oh, wait, I got a book deal coming up in 19 months. Watch me sit on this.
That is
Like,
such a deep cut that no one is going to get.
I know. It makes me really sad, but
Sam with the deep political cuts right now.
it's true. That is it. Like, don't be a fucking bad. Just encourage people to resolve problems immediately.
And
Encourage people to share things promptly.
this is why I love the reporting around specific things, right? And why it's a much
Right.
better way to do reporting because it can be
As soon
timely,
as the thing is done, it's
specific.
done.
Yeah. And it's action oriented too, right?
Right.
Like, it's not, let's sit and drop it in as a line item on a much larger report that no one's going to read. It's like, here's the specific thing. This is what we're talking about. Here's what we're going to do next, right? Like, very action oriented. And
Mhm.
to be honest, I think some brands would probably benefit from having only that kind of reporting, right? And it also then shows what is actually getting done, right? Because the more agencies want to report, like the less that is actually getting done, and the more they're just trying to
Right. This
fluff
isn't, yeah,
the work.
it's not complicated. Like, we have clients that are like yours where it's like they want one quarterly business review report, 4 reports a year. That's all they want. And it's literally goes to the CEO. And he's like, look, this is all we care about. And inside those reports, like, they want some pretty stuff in every once in a while, which is fine. But they're also like, look, here are the 4 metrics we care about. Just put them on slides. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And if we need to talk, no standing call, and you're like, if we need to talk about something, because performance is not going well or something, let us know. And we'll hop on a quick call and, we can talk through how to make it better. But otherwise, don't fucking talk to me. I got a business to run. Like,
Exactly.
I can see
And
the numbers anyway because I also have reporting, and I see things
correct.
are going great. Thank you.
Yeah. The other, and I think if you're an agency owner, like what has been helpful for me, and like one of the things that drives our team nuts, I'm very sure it pisses everybody off, but I just don't care. Not because I don't care about them, but because I think at the end of the day, we have business to run and I need to run it in a way that's most efficient, right? It's the kind of the job is how is this piece of reporting useful? Like, how would this actually help a client make a better decision? And if you cannot articulate how that is going to actually help them, then it's not worth reporting on. And like the great test is like impressions. You got 984,921 impressions last month. How does that help the client do a better job?
It's like
How does
thanks,
that
I
help the client build
guess.
their business? Right? It doesn't. It's fucking useless. Like it doesn't help. So it's not worth anything. So don't report on it. We're done. Easy. Easy way to streamline your reporting by 80. If you want to cut 80% of your reporting requirements right away, just ask that question over and over again for each thing you've reported. Problem
Don't
solved.
waste your time. Don't waste the client's time.
And don't waste your people's time. Like you have smart, capable people at your agency, presumably.
Presumably.
I mean, in fairness, after auditing a few accounts, ooh,
I am very
I'm very
skeptical.
bullish on the future of my agency, and I'm very bearish on some others. But that's fine. But
And
like, why?
I
Like,
think this also dovetails in like we could spend hours because this like expands into comms and like in general, but I think that's also something you need to be auditing internally too, and not just like client comms, but like internal comms, meetings, right? Which is essentially like reporting. And I have a reputation internally of ending meetings after like 3 minutes. Like if, people did not come prepared, if everything is not done, I'm like, okay, this meeting's over. Like, we're not wasting my
we're
fucking
done.
time on this. Like, come back to me when you have like all of the bullet points and everything necessary for us to finish this call. And it's not like me being a dick. It's well them being dicks to me because they're trying to waste my time, right? But like synchronous time and like comms is such a burden.
But it's the
And
most expensive time you.
like think about a department level call where you are talking about whatever. It's not just an hour of your time, it's an hour of 12 people's time, right? That is a
And
12-hour meeting.
yeah, and it's 12 on demand. It's not 12 on demand hours. It is 12 premium hours,
Yeah. Happening at
which
a single time
add a single time.
with like people, and it has to be
Like at the very least, if you put something in like an asynchronous format, like you put together a Loom and you send it out. I love Looms, love them because people can watch it as they please. They can get the information. It can get a transcript. It's
watching it
fantastic.
1.5 times speed. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But synchronous time is the most expensive time that you. So it should be treated as the most expensive thing. Like it should be precious, not let's get together for a quick call.
Yeah.
No.
Unless
One of
that
the
quick
things.
call is like 3 minutes and it's like, hey, I got one problem. I want to talk about it for 3 minutes. Can we chat? And it's like, sure, three
Yeah,
minutes.
that's
Let's do
fine.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I do is like, I'm pretty sure it ticks people off too, but you want a meeting? What is the purpose of the meeting? What is the context? What are the decisions that will be made at the end of the meeting? If you cannot answer those questions and put them in the meeting invite, I don't show up. Also, if you include a Teams link, I'm not coming.
Yeah. Like the, there has to be an action at the end of a meeting, right?
Correct.
Well, and take that with client calls too, right? Like, and we have our meetings very structured where it's like,
Yeah,
here's the
agendas go out
notes.
ahead of
We
time.
share the notes. Like, if you have stuff that you need to put in the notes as a client, like put them in the fucking notes. And then like we rip through stuff as quickly as possible. And we have the action items that go at the end based on the meeting. And then if I can turn a 30-minute meeting into 12 minutes, I'm like, great. Okay, we're done. Here's your 18 minutes back. Goodbye. Like,
Yeah, we're done. This isn't like I don't like you. It's that I like doing things for you more.
I like productivity, and if I want to hang out with you, let's go grab a drink. Let's not do it on a fucking Zoom call.
100%. So, yeah, I think It's really funny to me how I think growing up in quotes in the business, right? Like all we kept hearing in like the marketing ecosphere for like years was how like Bezos and Zuck and Elon and all these people were assholes because, Bezos with his famous, this meeting could have been an email, this email could have been a text message, that thing, Musk with the, send me a 2-sentence email with what you got done today. Like dicky things, right? Like how it was completely lambasted by everybody. And now everyone's like, oh, yeah, shit.
Almost like the people who built like $1 trillion
$1
businesses knew
companies,
something about productivity and efficiency.
just maybe.
It's like Steve Jobs was
Just maybe.
notorious for that. Like fucking like a 1 sentence email, like didn't even say hi. He's just like, yes, do it. Like, great. That's all that was
Perfect.
needed.
We're
Uh,
clear. That's, yeah.
I sometimes get shit for this too, where it'll be like, oh, like, is Colin angry? And it's like, no. Like, and we literally have this in like team members onboarding documentation where it's like, you're going to
I should do
get
that.
a very short message, has nothing to do about being irritated or pissed off, or like, you'll know if I'm pissed off. It's why use 50 words when 3 will do?
Yeah. We're not lawyers. We don't get paid by the word.
Exactly. Right. Like, I'm not billing my time to you guys. I'm not trying to squeeze 6 minutes out. And true story, like this is why I'm very aggressive with I cut lawyers off all the time on calls. I'm like, thank you. All right, done. Next question. Um it throws some people off sometimes when they're on a call with me and a lawyer. And I'm like, don't worry. They're like, the lawyer wants us to be an hour and a half. I'm gonna make sure this is 26 minutes. Like, let's go.
Yeah. You are going to be rounding down to the 15-minute increment.
Yeah. It's like we're getting this done quick, right? But like I view this, and I think you, as like really anyone, right, in a professional capacity, this is respect. This is respect for other people's time and the belief that they also want to get shit done, right? Like, there are necessary evils in this world. Comms is one of them, reporting, sometimes one of them, but let's not waste time on stuff that is not necessary, right?
It's
Like,
just trivial.
be efficient, right? Especially on the stuff that's not that important. Like,
Yeah.
I
There's
fucking hate wasting time.
same. But there's stuff that actually moves the business forward and that only you can do. Those are the high leverage activities. Spend your time there. Reporting anybody can do, and it doesn't move the business forward. It is just a black hole for time and productivity.
Yeah. And it's a black hole for time and productivity that it's so easy to fall into. And
Yeah,
then,
it's nice and
you're spending
comforting.
all of Monday every week doing reporting or something. And you're like, this is a
This
gigantic
is not
fucking
worth it.
waste. Yeah. It's
It's just not worth it. Like, mm, again, I think it just comes down to a question of what is actually important to the client. And if growing the business is what is important, then you should be focusing the overwhelming majority of the maximum amount possible of your resources on doing that.
yes. 100%.
And yeah, like 100% go audit your time logs and see what people are spending time on. Because I guarantee you, like, even if somebody tells you like, oh, I only spent 45 minutes on this report, if you go back and actually look at, well, actually they talked to 2 account managers and they talked to the creative strategist and they talked to, one of the media buyers. And, oh yeah, they also had a call with a client about it. Okay, well, now they spend 45 minutes maybe, plus all that time. So it's probably another 45 minutes to an hour if I'm being generous. And those people all spent at least another hour. So this report was really 4 or 5 hours total.
And for what?
No idea. So it can sit in an archive and never be looked at again.
Or never looked at in the first place.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Ugh.
Like, yeah, reporting, just don't, the minimum amount of time that is necessary. I go back to, like, if you've ever seen The Social Network, where the lawyer's asking Mark Zuckerberg in that interview, how much of your attention is here? And he's like, the minimum amount. That should be your answer to reporting. How much time do you spend on reporting? The minimum amount.
Correct. And you should be aggressively trying to push that minimum amount even smaller.
Correct.
My dream
See?
world is
Easy.
0 minutes on reporting ever. No reporting. Like
Yeah,
ju-
because that's the kind of
just
reporting that will
results.
actually help you do a better job.
You want to know what the performance is? Great. You have a dashboard. Go open it. Look. There's no report.
Exactly.
Like
You're curious about something? Ask the specific question and get the specific answer. Don't
correct.
ask for a I think that is the other problem that I have with reporting. Is so much of reporting is an evergreen solution to a sporadic problem.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is brings up a good point and something I mentioned on a separate podcast was like good. This is for agencies, by the way. Give great answers to clients, right? Like some of the comms burden that agencies experience, and this is one of the first things I teach people internally, is is your fault because you gave a shitty answer that didn't fully answer the question that they asked you, right? Where it's like, oh, how did this test go? And like a bad answer is, oh, went pretty well, right? And like that doesn't tell me anything, right? A better
Right.
answer could be like, oh, well, the AMER was like a 2.2, right? And like that's a little better, but there's still lots of follow up questions that would
Right.
potentially come from that, and you want to answer all of the potential follow-up questions in your first answer, so there is no more back and forth. Where a good answer to that question would be it was a 2.2 and the baseline in the account is a 1.8. Currently, the last time that we did run this test was 12 months ago, and the performance was a 2.0, and the account performance overall was a 2.0, so it's running materially better today than it was last year and is materially better than the baseline. I think we should apply it across the whole account. Boom. Like, and you've added all the
Right.
context, you've added all the details. There shouldn't be any back and forth. Like, if someone's asking a follow up question to an answer that you provided, your answer was shit.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That's fair.
Like, you should know what
Yeah.
they're going to ask.
Right. It's not
So
hard
just
to
answer it.
I mean, it's not hard to anticipate. It should not be difficult for a person who is well versed in both the client and, generally speaking, communication strategy to anticipate the 5 or 7 most common questions and answer them. There's always going to be like some random out of left field bullshit that you don't see coming because every once in a while, whatever, a client's like goes off into Never Never Land. But that's fine. Like, your goal should be to answer those 5 common questions. Like, what was the historical benchmark? How is this performance compared to the baseline? What happens? What do we do with this information going forward? How long does doing that take? Or when will we see that result or that action be completed? Like, those are all very easily those are questions you should anticipate.
Yeah. And
And
don't wait for them to happen. Just
just
give it.
answer them.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Nope. It saves time. And that is also basically reporting, right? Reporting and comms are kind of one and the same.
Yeah, it's all the same. All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up. So do less reporting, do it better, and stop sucking. Go team.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. We did have a few reader questions. I love reader questions.
All
Or
right, let's
listener
get to some
questions,
reader
listener
questions.
questions. All right.
Watcher questions.
Watcher, listener, subscriber, questions from the people.
You asked, we
All
answered.
right. Yeah, exactly. All right. From Jordan. How do you balance long-term brand building with short-term performance goals? Have clients that don't see the value in investing in brand because ROAS for brand is low.
I mean, get better clients. I mean, no. Like, I think you it's an allocation of resources, right? And where the resources are balanced. And, this is a conversation to have with like anything sort of experimental, and especially with your smaller brands, like you treat it as experimental, but like 10 to 20% of your budget should always be allocated to experimental things where you are not necessarily holding them to your sort of core performance benchmarks because you're trying new shit, right? And I think initially brand should go in there. And I would also push back on the brand doesn't have as good a performance. It might have better performance. It's just harder to measure, right? Which is a separate conversation, which I know Sam and I have talked about in
Yeah.
the previous episode. But there should always be experimental budget. Like that's one of the first conversations that we have when potentially bringing on a client is like, are you comfortable spending 15 to 20% of your budget on experiments and experimental initiatives that we are not going to like look at in terms of like how it performs on the P&L? Because, you know, the experiments are how you drive future growth. And if you are afraid to run them because like you can't hold them to the sort of baseline standard of your performance marketing, then you're never really going to get the long term and large scale growth that you should, because you're not going to test stuff that has, you know, uh, a wide range of outcomes.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is you're looking at investments with different time horizons and you're comparing it to the short one, right? Your brand investments are best analogy I can give because it's fall right now and my I don't know, whatever. Um, Imagine you have like two apple trees, right? You have like this tiny little apple sapling and you have this big apple tree that's got fruit, right? You can spend time pruning the apple tree and making the big tree make a little bit more fruit, or you can invest some of that time in planting more little trees, which aren't going to have any fruit this year and might not have fruit in a little bit, but eventually will dramatically increase the amount of, harvest, the yield that you get, right? You're planting seeds for future sales. That's what brand building is. So the return, to your point, in the short term is probably shit. But the return, when you measure it over the full time horizon of the investment, is likely significantly better than what you got on the performance. It's just you are measuring a long term investment by a short term metric, and it looks shit. Well, no shit. Like you're basically asking a fish to climb a tree, then telling it it's stupid when it can't. Like it's a
Lot of
dumb thing to do.
analogies here on this one. Love
A
it.
lot of analogies. Yeah. All right. Question number 2 comes to us from Patrick. You mentioned a couple episodes ago that authenticity is essential. How do you reconcile that with the fact that most marketing is engineered?
I have no idea how to answer this fucking question. What the fuck does
Patrick
that
with the
question
dick
even
question.
mean? What the
I
fuck
don't
does that
know,
even
man.
mean?
But Patrick, all right. I mean, I think the answer is most things are engineered. Like people don't know. Like marketers, yeah, we know how the sausage is made. Most people don't. Like, let's just be real. You reconcile it by saying that, yeah, you need to be authentic, but you got to be authentic in the way that actually resonates with people. So we provide guidelines, right? You can have real, genuine, authentic UGC or creative that's engineered. It's designed based on, we know what resonates with this audience. Great. We know the right hooks. Great. We know the type of video that actually, resonates with the audience. Great. You can create something that's authentic within those confines. You use the engineering to create the constraints. Don't be bad.
I mean, everything is built. Nothing is
Mm-hmm.
spontaneous, and you can create the framework for spontaneity to happen. Like, yeah, nothing
Yeah.
is real.
Okay.
Nothing is authentic. Everything is manufactured. Like, welcome
Yeah.
to the
Everything's
world.
derivative of something. Depends on how deep you want to go down that theological rabbit hole.
Don't think we have
All
time for
right.
that.
Follow up from last week's episode. Should brands lean into controversy or polarizing messaging or play it safe? What actually
uh
works?
the answer is maybe. The answer is, if you don't know, no. Like, some brands can do it. Some brands have the teams in place and the sort of brand style where that can work, but it's a high risk, high reward play. And, unless you are elite, right? Like, it's like golf. Uh, I should not be making a big slinging like hook out of the trees to get it on the green. that might be great for Bubba Watson at the Masters. Uh, but I am a hack, so not so good for me, right? Like, so know your level of expertise on this one. And if you don't have the expertise, sit this one out. Like,
Yeah. I mean, you can't. Yeah. It's just, there are plenty of ways to win. It's being controversial and polarizing is one way to win.
play to your skill level.
Yeah. And your strengths. Like, if you don't have a huge team, you're probably not going to be able to handle the deluge of interactions that follow controversial stuff. So don't do that. All right. Last one. What? Okay. Ah, all right. This one's kind of all right. Last one. We got a decent one. Last week, you guys talked about being contrarian. So, what is your contrarian marketing belief that you think is right? All right. That's not bad.
I mean, one contrarian belief.
Got to pick one. It says one. I'm just the reader here, dude. I'm just the
um,
messenger.
AI does a better job than 85% of people already, even though it's pretty shitty.
It's like a rather cynical indictment of the workforce.
I think most people are bad at their jobs. Like, yes, as someone who hires people for a living, I think most people are bad at their jobs, and even the mediocre AI that we have now is better than a huge percentage of the actual workforce.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
you have bad employees just use AI, and that actually makes them better employees.
it's amazing.
Like, you take the bad employees and literally they just like regurgitate what the AI tells them, and they're actually improved employees.
Yeah, I think, let's see, what contrarian belief?
I don't even know if that's contrarian or not, but
I think that's probably just factual, but sure, we'll play. Probably, I mean, I tend to think that most people would be better if they did 80% less and they just focused much more on the 20% that they're actually good at. I think most marketers just stretch themselves way too thin. And you end up in this like weird place where like you would be much better off if you would just focused on like these 4 things that you're really fucking good at and you stop trying to do this other shit.
I think it's true.
Yeah, like
Jack of all
way too
trades,
many people
master of
have.
none.
Yeah, like there are very few people who are really, really, really good at multiple things. Like it's hard. It's legitimately difficult. Like there are very few LeBron Jameses or Michael Jordans or Wayne Gretzky's in the world.
I mean, two of them host this podcast, but
That's true. But we're cool and special. It's just a reality. Like I'm not saying people aren't good or whatever. I'm saying that for the majority of people, you would be better off focusing on a few things versus too many. And with that, that's the end of the mailbag. This episode has gone on for probably too long already. So thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, press the bell thing, do the stuff you're supposed to do. Implement our reporting ideas. Go make yourself some more money and some more time. You're welcome.
let us know how it goes and ask us more questions, or tell us how it went changing your reporting, and we'll bring
We'll
it
go
up
from
on
there.
another episode.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.